I then sent my wife a message saying, like it was like my final words, I'm going dark now for 30 hours.
So
Awesome.
I think what the people really want to know, was it like in that Simpson episode where everything went nuclear and the radiation gave the fish 3 eyes? And
Yeah, this is when I make extra fingers.
And then the third marker should be a small island very close to the exit. There was no island. I don't know how I missed that, but I didn't see a huge island, So yeah, they just removed the islands, and I was I was swimming like full on.
Welcome to Dive Around the World, the podcast that brings you stories, insights, and adventure from beneath the surface. Each episode, we explore the people, places, and passion that make diving more than just a sport.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Dive Around the World podcast. We have another fun one for you today. We're going to do a bit of a catch-up. We haven't been here for a while. We had a bit of a summer break, the three of us. Adam, Memo, how are you feeling?
Super
Awesome.
good, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Always nice to be back. Always nice to see everyone. So guys, let's catch up. What have you been up to? I know, Adam, let's start with you. Last time we talked, you were on your very long way to and back from Bikini.
Yeah, so I went to Bikini Atoll, which is a super long way away from the UK.
Such a sexy name.
It has got a good name, right? And I don't know which came first, the swimsuit or the island, but it's...
Actually, I do know it was the island, and the swimsuit was named after the island because of the bomb. And
it's super cool. So from the UK, it doesn't matter whether you go east or west. So half of our group went east and I went west, which turned out really good for us in the end. My journey took me from London through Los Angeles to Hawaii. And then from Hawaii, the little island hopper that stops a few times on the way through Maduro and eventually to Kwajalein. Kwajalein Island has a cool dive center on its base, but it's a US military installation. So the entire island, just like Guam, is a US military base. When you get off the plane, they put you in a holding pen, which is all boarded up so you can't look out, you can't see. You're not allowed to take any photos getting on or off the plane, and the window blinds are down because you arrive on this super top secret military island. You're then processed, put into a car, driven to a ferry, and pushed off the island as soon as possible. So they use the
you have to wear blindfold.
No blindfold. It's not full Guantanamo, but it's not far. It's not far away. But you obviously do get a little look at the island. There's a whole bunch of those big golf balls there, and from Google Earth you can take a bit of a look as well. So they have a cool thing there called the space fence, which is a radar that looks into space and tracks all the objects in space. They do all of the intercontinental ballistic missile tracking and nuclear missile tracking and stuff there. So it's a really cool island, big US military base. From what I can gather, it's like a US city. They've got Burger King on there. They've got sports facilities. They've got a dive center. So it's a super cool place. And they've got everything they need because they're a long way from anybody. If you take a look at Bikini on the map, if you take Japan and you take Hawaii, it was sort of right in the middle. So yeah, they're a long way. And the island basically is run by the US military, but the people who actually make everything happen are the local people. And the local people are from an island just across the way called Ebeye, which is where we were ferried to. So we were ferried from Kwajalein over to Ebeye, and Ebeye is a small local island, very much small properties and very tropical. And those people, most of them work on the base. There's a huge number of people on that island. So it's actually one of the highest populations per landmass in the world on this island called Ebeye. So it's super crowded. Luckily for us, the hotel Ebeye the only hotel on the island that we booked, caught fire 3 weeks before and burnt to the ground.
Winning, yeah.
Just like one of my normal stories, it wouldn't be any good if something crazy didn't happen.
Of course.
And that meant we didn't have anywhere to stay. And so for the couple of months leading up to it, we believed we'd stay in Hotel Ebeye, and then eventually we found out that we would be sleeping potentially on the floor on this island. In the end, we managed to put together and find a house, and we actually rented the house from the mayor of the island. His own personal property, which is a 2-bedroom house and, a little wooden house with 2 bedrooms and a small living area. And that was 14 of us. 14 of us
So it was cozy.
Plus all of our dive kit, tons of dive kit. So each person had around about 4 to 5 bags, plus their, with their rebreathers and all their equipment, or hoofed into one tiny little room for 2 nights.
So did you build yourselves beds out of all your bags?
Yeah, we just basically slept. Everybody basically slept everywhere. We went to the supermarket, which is only stocked once a month by container ship. That was due next week. The supermarket was relatively bare and didn't have any fresh food at all. So yeah, we managed to get a few bits together and make a beach barbecue. So it was quite a nice group activity to bring everybody together, but it felt a little bit rustic. A lot of people have paid quite a lot of money to go on this trip. So there was the odd person who was a little bit highly strung to realize that they were sleeping on a sofa next to 6 other snoring, sweaty guys who'd been on a plane for 3 days. But
That's called team
nice
bonding.
Trip. Team bond. You got it.
Yeah.
And of course, like all my trips, you can never guess what happened. None of the bags arrived.
You lost gear.
Yeah, we lost a lot of gear. For the first one was my friend called Jenny. Her rebreather, even though she flew first class with British Airways and paid a fortune for a flight through Tokyo, her bag didn't bother loading it. So her bag was sat in London, and of course she complained. And luckily enough, they managed to forward her bag to me in Hawaii. And I picked up her bag in Hawaii before I left, which worked quite well. Other guys, they were flying the United Island hopper from Tokyo Haneda through Guam, which has got 6 stops on the way to Kwajalein. And 5 of their rebreathers just didn't show up. We were in panic mode at one point where we thought, okay, maybe this equipment doesn't arrive. What on earth do we do? We contacted United. They said there's no flights for another 2 days. We said, okay, so we'll take our bailout regulators, try and make some open circuit kit for these guys, try and get them diving somehow. One guy was diving in my undersuit. So I had an undersuit for my dry suit because he had nothing else to dive in. We were kind of sharing backup masks and fins and all kinds of stuff to try and get people in the water for the first 2 days before eventually the rebreathers did arrive. But yeah, that was a little bit of a nightmare.
Now the whole XR redundancy thing makes a lot more sense. It's not because of the things breaking underwater. It's because your gear never comes with you.
It's hard, right? Because let's say we took this 3-day journey from your home country to arrive in Kwajalein. You then get from Kwajalein to Ebeye. Ebeye, you spend 2 days, and then it's 30 hours on a boat to Bikini Atoll from Ebeye. So when we leave Bikini Atoll, that's it. Sorry, when we leave Kwajalein for Bikini Atoll, that's it. There is nothing. I mean, we are really in the middle of nowhere. There's no way to get any luggage to us. They can't forward anything. There's nothing on those islands. So we couldn't leave the area around Kwajalein and Ebeye to head to Bikini until the bags arrived. So we did a couple of dives close by. There's a super cool wreck called Prince Eugen, which is an upside down battleship. The propellers stick out of the water. Super nice ship. And all the penetrations are great because you go up from the deck of the wreck. So you go underneath the wreck and inside, which is really, really cool. So yeah, really, really cool place to dive, but not Bikini Atoll. We paid to dive Bikini Atoll. When the bags turned up, we steamed 30 hours, which was a bit of a detox for me. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but they said we're going to leave at 7 p.m. That is no internet, no phone signal, nothing until we arrive. 30 hours.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, well, I was twitching a little bit at the beginning.
The thumb's just ghost scrolling.
Yeah.
I then sent my wife a message saying, like it was about my final words, I'm going dark now for 30 hours and, I'll see you later. Normally she gets a morning message from me, an evening message from me and, some messages during the day. But that wasn't going to happen. So turned the phone off and we rode it out. A lot of people, watched films or slept or did whatever they did. I thought, you know what? I'm going to try and get ahead of some of my work. open my laptop, everything's on the cloud.
I just wanted to say, well,
Can't log
like,
into the
my
SSI
laptop
system.
doesn't do anything without it.
So it's like, yeah, okay. I'm so connected now. I can't even work. Okay, close the laptop. And I slept for 27 hours.
My God.
It was-
We're still going to ask, how was the boat journey? How is the like weather conditions, wave conditions? But if you slept through it,
I could sleep through anything, honestly. But yeah, it was a little bit rough after the first 10 hours were flat. And then it got a little bit rough. You know, a few people got flung out of bed. But I was quite lucky. I had a cabin downstairs right in the hull. So for me, it wasn't too bad. We made it to Bikini, and yeah, what a place. I've never been somewhere so remote in my life and so beautiful and so. For those of the listeners that don't know, Bikini Atoll is where they tested nuclear weapons. The reason it's so far away is because of that, where they wanted to test the nuclear weapons. The local people, they put them on a boat and shifted them a few thousand miles away to another island and put a number of 70 odd vessels in a circle around what was the target point. They wanted to know what happens. They want to know what happens to a fully laden aircraft carrier, what happens to a battleship, what happens to, things that are alive. So they put like planes and bombs and everything. So just like a fully ready to go to war battleships, they put a lot of animals on the deck to see what would happen. And then they detonated 2 nuclear weapons. The first one was an air detonation, and the second one was an underwater detonation. The air detonation was about a mile off course, unfortunately. Still caused quite a bit of damage. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. But the underwater blast was quite catastrophic. You know, when we dive these ships, you can see some of them have got ripples down the entire hull where the pressure wave from the bomb bent the ships in half, basically.
And how are the conditions, like the visibility, temperature?
So temperature's great. Temperature's in the 30s, 30 Celsius, 31 Celsius, something like that. So super warm all the way to the bottom.
obviously, because you need to be able to swim in a bikini.
Of course, with the rebreather in my bikini, that's exactly how I dived. That's not true. Nobody wants to see that.
Sure. Of course.
Of course. You traveled 30 hours.
Was it a yellow polka dot bikini?
But, the visibility is hit and miss. So because you're in an atoll, which means you're sort of in it is massive, this atoll. It takes, 5 or 6 hours to drive across with the boat. But you're in this atoll, and so the water movement isn't super strong, which means there can be a bit of plankton, there can be a bit of lower visibility. We were lucky. Most dives, we had 30 to 35 meters of visibility. Nice. Some of the dives, it went down a little bit, and then some dives it was up a little bit. But you need that visibility because the scale of the things you're diving on. The key dive for Bikini Atoll is the USS Saratoga, which is an absolutely enormous aircraft carrier. If you guys have got a minute, let me show you this. This is the Saratoga, which is an enormous...
How long?
340 meters.
Wow.
That's big.
Yeah, like huge. And, 50, 60 meters across. You land on the flight deck, you come down the shot line and you hit the flight deck, and you think it's the seabed because it goes in all directions, but you're not. You're still 45 meters off the floor. So you're just on the flight deck. And I'll post some videos into the chat for everybody and some pictures. You can't believe the scale. It's enormous. If you want to swim the length of it, expect it to take you 45 minutes to an hour. If you want to swim across it, well, that's 3 to 5 minutes. Huge wreck. Multiple levels. So there's obviously a big superstructure on top of the deck. We go in through one of the aeroplane elevators that's collapsed. In through the aeroplane elevators, there's a lot of access to the interior of the ship. We went through various passages into the dive locker, which has got big brass diving helmets and old-fashioned rubber dry suits hanging up. Super cool. All the way down the bows of the ship into the machine shop with lathes and drill presses and all that kind of stuff. You go through into the command center and see all of the big navigation radar screens with all of the lines painted on them and the full bridge of the ship. So, dentist went into the dentist locker. So there's it's quite a silty passage. You go a long way inside the wreck, down a few flights of stairs into a really silty part. And and turn a corner, go into a corner of a room, and then there's 3 dentist chairs there. And the dentist chairs have got the little bowl next to them, and they've got the headphones on the back that people used to wear so they didn't hear the sound of the tools. So yeah, super, super cool. Really, really
So did you dive all of that? Like, did you do several dives on it, or did you dive it with the DPV? Or
Yeah, so we did
the
multiple
size.
dives on it. Yeah, we did multiple dives on it. Everybody was told, look, guys, don't go like a bat out of hell. You know, you've come all this way, you're all tired, you've all traveled a long way, you've all paid a lot of money, but don't go and try and kick the arse out of it immediately because somebody will get bent or something will go wrong. So everybody was told, look, keep it cool. But obviously people's enthusiasm was quite high. And so everybody said, okay, we'll go down and we'll do like a little exploratory stick on the outside a little bit and limit the dive to 2 hours. That went out the window almost immediately. As soon as everybody hit the wreck, everybody was inside around, backwards, forwards, swimming left and right. Yeah, most people did like 4.5 hours on the first dive.
My God.
We came back and was told, okay, well, you don't get an afternoon dive then, to which everybody complained. Lunch was cold. But, it was awesome. Everybody came out, on top of the world about the dive. And then, because of the penetrations, what we don't want to do is we don't want two teams on one penetration because, of course, you stir the visibility up. Even if you're really good in there, you're going to stir the visibility a little bit. And secondly, you don't want to meet another team coming on head on in one of these small spaces. So we would plan based on the drawings where each team would be each dive. So out of the 6 main penetrations, everybody got to do that at least once. Usually with a guide who knows what they're doing, but could be unguided if you wanted to. And then there was the rest of the ship. So we were the 6 main penetrations are like probably a quarter of the ship. And then you've got the whole rest of the ship, which you can just go off and explore and line out and do your own thing, which is one of the things I did. Off the side, there's some really nice planes laying on the seabed. And I'll show you guys a video. There's a video that pans down from the deck. And we're sitting on the seabed that pans down from the deck. And you see the entire bow. And then the 2 divers look like little pinpricks next to the bow. Awesome dive.
So
awesome.
I think what the people really want to know, was it like in that Simpson episode where everything went nuclear and the radiation gave the fish 3 eyes? And
yeah, this is my extra finger.
You don't see Adam's third eye now?
So, they store nuclear waste in swimming pools, right? They do that because water insulates from radiation. So, yes, if you were to bring lumps of steel up, or dust up from the wreck, they will be radioactive. But while they're in the water, you're obviously isolated from them. Obviously, the radiation decays slowly over time, but it's still not completely decayed. One of the coolest things about the trip was we did actually get a chance to take the boat for a day and go and walk on Bikini Island. So that's a really interesting trip. So Bikini Island is a long sandbar full of trees in the middle, like beautiful, like when you see desert island in the world, that's what desert island looks like. And for the first time ever in my life, I've been on a desert island that wasn't full of trash. I've been to those remote Maldivian islands, right? We walked the entire length of the island, didn't find one piece of trash.
The radioactivity dissolves everything.
Could be.
That night when you went to bed, did you glow?
Yeah, for sure. Spend the night there, you disappear, right?
While you're on the island, you realize that actually there were people living on the island. So after the bomb, probably 30, 40 years later, the US set up a base to restore the island back to its original usage. And so there's an entire US base on board there. So it's basically like there's a workshop and there's a boat house and there's a dive center and there's accommodations and all these stuff. But they were abandoned around the pandemic. So around 2019, they were abandoned. And so you're walking through an abandoned town, which is all overgrown. So it's a little bit weird. Obviously, they're not part of the the nuclear explosion. They were put there a lot later, but it feels super weird. You're told while you're on the island.
I can't believe you didn't shoot a single video like zombie apocalypse theme.
Yeah,
disappointed now.
There is cool. I found a bike, but the tires had rotted away. So there's a picture of me riding a bike on its rims. across like a coral path, which is quite cool. But yeah, the island is deserted. But you're told, do not eat the coconuts, do not dig,
Yeah.
because all the fallout, all the radioactive fallout is still there in the ground. So we go on the island. You could be on the island for a relatively long length of time. You don't get radiation poisoning, but you shouldn't eat anything off the island or drink the water or whatever, because that will still be in the ground. Obviously, it was a long time ago that the bombs happened, but yeah, what an interesting place. I've never been so far away from home in my life. Thank the Lord, whatever your God is, for Starlink. In the end, that's how we got our, that's how I managed to continue having a job and doing my work and contacting my family. And of course, trying to make everybody jealous with my videos and posts.
Yeah. Because what do you really do those trips for?
Well, if it's not
Obviously.
an Insta, it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
You guys would have loved it. Whether you do recreational scuba or free diving, there's something for everybody there. Wrecks at various different depths. We focused mainly on the slightly deeper ones, but incredible place, so far away. And then, yeah, coming back was a mission. So 6.5 days to get back. So yeah,
That's how long people's holidays usually.
Exactly.
yeah. It takes some time, but I think everybody was on the trip. They've all signed that poster for me. That's going up on my wall behind, and just the best time. Went out. I knew these people. They're generally people that I've trained over the years. So they're the group of divers that dive with me a lot. But they became closer friends. We got, really good, good dives together. We got really good time off together, away from technology, away from, all that stuff. Was super nice. So as a thing to do, I recommend everybody to set that as a goal. It is quite a lofty goal because it's quite expensive. It's really best done with the technical diving with the rebreather. If you want something to aim for in your diving, put that as a thing. It does take a little bit of time or whatever to get there, but I loved it. And I got to take Will, young lad who works for me, I got to take him with me, which was super special. Normally somebody just starting out as an instructor wouldn't be able to afford that kind of trip. So we managed to get him on the spot and get him to enjoy it as well. And yeah, he was made up. Loved it.
Nice. And now that's
Great.
the one thing when you have like this big thing, you have a big goal, you've got what do you do after? What is your next destination?
That is the bucket list. That is the bucket list trip, right? Yeah. Elon, give me a call. I'm up for Mars. Or moon base or Mars. That's fine for me. But I think Truk Lagoon. So close by Bikini, there's another atoll full of wrecks called Truk Lagoon in Micronesia. Very similar idea, but these are all Japanese transport ships that were bombed after Pearl Harbor bombing. So you can go there. I can connect Bikini to there. One of the wrecks we dived in Bikini Atoll was the Nagato. The Nagato is the wreck where the order from the Japanese High Command to bomb Pearl Harbor came from. And that's a super cool wreck. If you ever get the chance to Google it, the Nagato wreck, it basically had a huge superstructure in the middle that was like a pagoda, and each section spun and rotated. And, this thing's like 30 meters round, steel armored pagoda that span around. It's 40 meters high. So it's really interesting. And the Nagato ordered the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Because of Pearl Harbor, the US bombed all the Japanese ships in Truk Lagoon. So super connection. And yeah, that's another bucket list trip. So yeah, I've got a big bucket. That's sort of like, ticking things off as we go.
Nice. Is that one also so difficult to get to? Because you hear more about Truk Lagoon, so I think it's a bit easier to get to, no?
Very similar. So you're going to end up going to Guam, or you're going to end up going through the US. Very, very similar. You don't have the Kwajalein and Ebeye issue. So a little bit easier, but still, you're not just, you're not nipping to your local dive resort. It is a little bit of a mission.
Awesome. Sounds very interesting. So for the ones who haven't gotten Bikini on the bucket list yet, put it on. And you did not take a photo of all of you in bikinis on Bikini?
No, also that's not something I think people want to see.
Again, disappointing.
Exactly.
We do have a picture with the famous sign in Bikini. So outside the workshop on Bikini Atoll, obviously there's a big dilapidated workshop, and the big sign above it says Bikini Atoll Workshop. We can fix everything but a broken heart. So we got a picture there, which is super cool.
Nice. Okay, Memo. You've just swam the Bosphorus. I know we are very hot, Memo. For the ones who don't know it yet, Memo is right in the middle of a very, very heavy hitting midlife crisis.
Along with his Ferrari, he's also swimming like hell.
Forget about the Ferrari.
The people who can't afford a Ferrari and have to do.
Well, long story short, it started 4 years ago, this swimming adventure, right? We were together with one of our freediving training directors, and he had this amazing story. They got lost in the sea, and he ended up rescuing his whole team after swimming almost 3 days to find land. It's amazing, the story, how they get lost, how they decided there was no water, no food, nothing, but rescue groups were searching for them. They were not able to connect at all. And at some point he says, I see my country there. I start swimming. And he swam, he made it back to the shore. And until that moment, of course, as a professional, we always swim during the, water fitness evaluations. And I like to swim, but it's either 400 meter unassisted or 800 meters snorkeling. And when I heard that story, I got like super touched and inspired. I said, maybe I should try swimming a kilometer. So first year was trying to reach a kilometer. Then as soon as I touched that, it kind of opened the Pandora's box and I started to ask for more, me being me. So earlier this year, I completed my first 10K race. And I've been competing for some time. And Bosphorus, this is the second year in a row, is a special race for me. Not only it's kind of iconic, it's like you start swimming from Asia in Istanbul and finish on the European side. It's a 6.5 kilometer race, but also is a huge event. Almost 3,000 people swim. If everyone comes with a couple of people as well, so they allocate a huge park for swimmers and the families of that. It becomes an enormous swimming festival. So when you swim and when you see the finish line, you feel like 10,000 people are cheering for you.
That's super cool, huh?
Insane.
I used to work on the banks of the Bosphorus, and looking out my office window, that's a super scary stretch of water, right? It moves very fast, and there's like boat traffic like crazy, eh? And we all know, no offense, but Turkish drivers, they don't really stop for anybody, boat or car. So, were you not frightened?
No, they blocked the Turkish Olympic Committee organizes the event. So they stopped the traffic in Bosphorus for a couple of hours. The Coast Guard handles the safety patrol. So there's almost like 200 boats creating a corridor for the swimmers. Another 200-300 canoes, following like close to the swimmers, just in case someone cramps up or someone needs any help. But it still doesn't ease it off, because it's not like bikini visibility. You don't see anything and it flies by. So it's a 6.5 kilometer race. But if you look into the duration of that race, it's actually a 3K race time. So it's like you swim almost twice the speed you normally swim in that, because the current is pushing you down. But it is super technical. It's not like only swimming. You have to navigate really good because of this high current. At a couple of places that it creates turbulence. There are reverse currents. So if you try to cut the corner a bit too short in the Bosphorus, which is like a kilometer wide, but still you can come close to the shore, a bit too close, and it takes you back. And in the middle of the Bosphorus, there are like a couple of zones where there can be relatively higher velocity current. Kind of like, it's a beast, So you have to navigate, you have to draw a couple of zigzags and you try to feel the current. And luckily, the cold water is the indicator of the current. So whenever you catch the cold, it means it's fast. So like you try to stick in the cold water as much as you can, because it takes you in not in the direction you would like to swim. So this whole thing, the Bosphorus, the passion of the Bosphorus. Last year I was like really shocked and, like super motivated. So this year I've been training for it for almost all year. I joined a couple of races before, just kind of like the qualifier in my mind. But I mean, you know me, guys, maybe our audience don't. I like to live like, I like this game. So for me, living like
He's slightly obsessive.
So waking up 5 a.m. every morning is kind of fun for me. So it's like,
No surrender.
So it's exactly. So this year it was like, again, super crowded. They take you into these big boats, which usually transport people in the Bosphorus. It's the public vessels, transportation vessels. 2 big boats, 1,000 swimmers inside, and I was in the first boat. Like half an hour before, everyone started to cheer up, like they were like clapping, they were wowing, and you get these goosebumps in the boats, huge adrenaline. And then they start the, signal. They gave the signal and we jumped in the water. So the first part, I have to confess, I don't even remember too good because of the adrenaline. It's like you flush the toilet and everything goes inside. It was kind of this flush moment. They opened the door. I found myself in the sea like in 2 minutes. That's it. So like I remember leaving the door. I remember myself holding my buoy and up in the air looking at the other guy like, oops, all right, here we are. And then you start swimming. It's because of the current, navigation becomes even more critical because you change your course super fast. Usually, if you are like sighting every 20 strokes or so, if you're lifting up your head and looking where you are going, you have to cut it almost like half just to draw a straight line. Because of the current, it pushes you back, and in 20 strokes, you can be 50 meters off your, So it started quite hectic. There was like a couple of 100 swimmers. We were like head to head in the first phase. And again, if you don't know open water swimming, the starts are full contact karate. It's not like glorious. It's physical. So like 50 meters out, you're alone because of the current. It pushes everyone in one corner. Then comes the first bridge connecting Europe to Asia. We passed it under. Then there was this big electric line cutting the Bosphorus. That was the second point, my transit point. So I aimed to it. It was good. Again, like I caught some cold water. It was like super fast. And then the third marker should be a small island very close to the exit. There was no island. I don't know how I missed that, but I didn't see a huge island, So yeah, they just removed the islands, and I was I was swimming like full on, like the last bit. I was counting my strokes not to drop my rhythm. And I saw people going back to the shore, and I saw the finish line, and the last bit is always, for me, the most fun, because again, the group comes together, and you really feel like now there's a head-to-head race. You look into the eye of another swimmer, the adrenaline kicks in immediately. It becomes the moment you feel like, you're looking at me, and then pace increases. Yeah. So the last 400 was like, again, head to head with one fellow swimmer. It was super fun. Yeah. And it became like a good race, although I missed the island, for me, it was really, really good. So I became 22nd in my age group, which is
You did super well, right? When you're swimming, can you tell how well you're doing in the pack? Do you have time to sort of look behind or look in front, or you just keep your head down and you kind of go for your mark and that's it?
Actually, it's forbidden to carry a computer or any device which gives you kind of like a hint of the time. So you have to feel it. These are the rules. So I knew it was like good pace, but I didn't know the time at all. And I became like 22nd in a group of 230 almost. But I think it became like bad news because now I'm even more pumped. It's like I passed some ex-swimmers. And you know how it is. If you're a swimmer when you were a kid, your body is shaped around the water. So you know your technique is like at a level. When you want to catch it up again, it's a deal, but not a big deal like it is to normal beings.
Yeah.
Now I've started to feel like I have to raise the bar.
So now you're in the 10% club, right? You're right. You're in the top 10%. Was that the goal you set for yourself before you set out, or was that? Yeah. You wanted to be there.
Yeah. Last year my goal was top 25. I became 22nd. So let's put it here. I cannot take my word back. For the next year, I would like to be, I say top 15, but I'm aiming for top 10. Which I think is possible. With proper training, it's possible. You know what they say? Adam knows that hard work beats talent. You have to push for it.
That's it. Yeah, good man. Look, I'm looking forward to it, man. I would not swim in the Bosphorus, honestly. I like do all kinds of crazy diving, cave diving, whatever. But just looking at the Bosphorus, it's a super dark, black, scary bit of water, in my opinion. I've seen like eddy currents and left and right and bubbling and all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah,
good man. Well done.
The thing is, like, they've started to see some nice marine life. Like, there has always been dolphins in the Bosphorus, but recently they've started to see sightings of tuna. Also, the bluefish migration period is exactly this time of the year. So I was expecting to see something, but it was nothing really.
Probably better, because just now the dolphin comes and you start swimming the wrong direction because there's dolphins.
They're not that cute, believe me. At a distance, it's the cute
Bosphorus dolphins.
No, it's like full of scars, and like they're like the mobsters of the Bosphorus. Like, hey, you're looking at me? Don't look at so much. It's like you can swim even faster to run away. So that was the highlight of my couple of. Since my summer. Now the races is over and I've started to train again. So it's good.
It's not over, just the time to the next race is a bit longer again.
Yeah, for me it's good. For my wife, she's like, oh my God, she just sighs and that's it.
Yeah. Oh no, he did well again. Yeah, no, me. But this is exactly the reason why I don't like open water swimming, because of the races, because of the contact sport around it all. In the pool you get your lane, you have your own space.
Corinna gets too angry. She might fight somebody if they elbow her.
Yes.
Especially
and the thing is, I don't have fingernails, so I can't fight back.
Yeah, but don't worry. When you're getting in the boat, they check everyone's fingernails. If you have long fingernails, they say, go, cut it down and come back later.
Nice.
But in the top, I would say in the overall ranking, top 10, it's like this full contact thing never ends up because there's something called drafting.
Yeah.
You can really hide yourself in the shadow of another swimmer and you can save energy throughout the swim.
So like the peloton thing,
It's the same 100%. As in cycling. Yeah.
Yeah, and so these guys work in teams? Or?
No, the swimmers don't. And the thing is, if you're the one in front, it's horrible because you can't kick properly because you keep on, because they swim so close that they literally, their face is in your feet. It's like,
wow.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's a choice that you have to make. You can try to shake them off, if they are behind you. And for the one who is following, it's not that easy. You have to, because you're swimming basically in a bubble, and following the guy requires super focus. He can be like 1.5 meters off and you are out of the zone and you will fall behind in a couple of seconds. And it's not like that straightforward to follow. But I would say top 10 overall is always like that. They are like, they go side to side, back to back, just like that.
So for your next goal, you better get comfortable with people's feet in your face.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I smelled them enough. So for now, it's quite okay. You know, it's actually, if you follow the lead like that, it's good for the follower. No effect for the lead. But if you follow like that, if you're on the waist or the hip line of the follower, for the follower, it's super good. But for the lead guy, they lose speed because you break their wave. So they cannot cut the water. So you create turbulence around them.
So you better
Quite
practice your hip opener so you don't just
technical.
kick this way, so you can also kick this way. Maybe along with your swimming lessons, go for like some martial arts just to be safe.
Just like that, right? Yeah.
Nice.
So what about you,
Wow.
Corinna?
Well, I escaped the South African winter and went to Austria for a little bit. I went to see my family. Got a few dives in the lakes, cold water,
Nice.
because heat waves, hey, Europe was quite bad,
yeah.
I have to say. It was very hot. So diving in a lake was actually quite nice, especially under the thermic lines, you know, the lake my parents live at. If you're at like 25, there's always going to be 4 degrees. So,
But it was
I
nice
think you
this
did some
weekend.
diving in the.
Go ahead, sorry.
I think you did some dives in the river as well, right?
yeah, that was actually snorkeling. That was not a dive, it's snorkeling. There's this place called Traunfälle. It's like a river, crystal clear water. And you basically snorkel. You have to wear a really thick suit because it's freezing cold, even in the hottest of summer. And also you like float in the river. So it's like a little bit of exposure protection to like the sand. And sometimes you like go touch your stomach to it. And it's full of pike and like all sorts of, I've never seen this many freshwater fish in my life. You just like go from one side of the riverbank to the other. You just drift along for like, it's 5 kilometers, I think. And you just fish everywhere. I've never in my life, and I've done a lot of freshwater diving, never in my life ever seen that many fish. Rainbow trout.
Super cool.
They're so cool. When you drive through there, you see on both sides of the roads, these super cool, and they're very blue as well. Rivers. Obviously, it's the ice melt, right, from the mountains.
Yeah,
and super cool looking.
That was amazing.
People
and some
do a little bit of
scuba
river diving and
also.
stuff there. Yeah.
So you have find ways to cool down, but yeah, it's been hot. I mean, Europe, it's been crazy, right? I mean, it's the worst El Nino in measurement times in history, I think.
Yeah, we had the hottest summer in record in the UK, which is not normally a hot place. We struggle here for heat, but we've had a lot of it and almost no rains. Or we go to all of our dive sites, they've all dropped in level quite a lot. Some of the caves and mines that we dive in, the water table's shifted so much. There's now like an extra 800-900 meters of walking that was previously underwater to get to the water. So yeah, but it was nice. This weekend I had an IE and we were diving in a quarry in the UK and super nice conditions though. Nice out of the water. You dry off quite quickly. You can, get into the water. You're not having to worry about super thick undersuits because the water temperature's high because the temperature's being so consistent. So actually, in terms of time to dive in the UK, it's pretty good and not as much algae as I thought there would be. Some we've had.
It's in Austria. There's a lot of like shells. There's this thing called quokka shells, which is this huge invasive species. Covers everything. They're really small. Covers everything. That's quite, and them basically like kind of going everywhere. It also helps algae grow, so it's not great. And the water's dropped everywhere. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the stories along the Danube in a lot of lakes in Austria. It's just dropped so much. They found like mammoth fossils. They found loads and loads of wrecks that just came up because it's so shallow. The Danube is closed in quite a lot of areas also because the ships can't go through.
Yeah, loads of
I was
places
going
found,
to tell you that.
Yeah, artifacts from the war and, all kinds of things that people have thrown in the lakes and rivers over the years. That's, super cool time.
I just saw an update. There's this little lake close to my parents. It's usually it's 15 meters deep. Usually it's like small, but it almost completely dried out. And at this point, they have found 600 kilograms of Nazi tea.
Fireworks for tonight, yeah.
That's why we have a couple of reservoirs close by where they dammed a valley and obviously flooded it to make a reservoir. They've sank, and now you can see all the villages popping up. So there's like a church spire popping up, and all the things that used to be there that were flooded. So yeah, it's an interesting time for a little bit of archaeology if you like that kind of thing. Get your metal detectors out and get on the banks.
Find some treasures. Go find some treasures, everyone.
I'm a little bit into watching that magnet fishing, to be honest with you. I can enjoy a little bit of magnet fishing. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
It's one of
I don't know if I want to say
pleasures.
that in open conversation, but yeah, it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it starts with a magnet.
It's just
this
worse in
big,
America when you watch the American ones because there's so many guns.
Yeah.
Just huge magnets after a while. Yeah.
Do you have a gigantic magnet, Adam? I feel like you would be a person to have.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, but no, I don't. I like the ones that interest me are the funny ones. Like if you go to, imagine doing that in on the lake, one of the rivers or canals in Holland. Imagine how many bikes there are in there. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
It must be a meter deep in old bikes to the bottom of there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even in the lake there by my parents. There's also lots of bikes. You just see them. Sometimes we take them out. Sometimes we just leave them there. It's the kind of wreck diving I can afford, Adam.
Bikini Atoll, push bike in Bodensee.
In the lake.
Same.
I mean, here close to where I stay in Miracle Waters is also a quarry. There is a school bus.
There is actually. I've been there. I've been to Miracle Waters. But come on, you live in South Africa. You can drive and get some of the world's best diving. You can't complain too much, huh?
No.
And that's like Memo. When Memo says he gets up at 5 a.m. and takes 20 steps from his house and he's swimming in the beautiful blue Aegean, I also don't feel so sorry for him.
Yeah,
you shouldn't.
I guess so.
You shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing quite well. We're fine. Even though we're not making it to bikini anytime soon.
Yeah.
I can get into a bikini sometime soon.
Yeah, but it's a privilege to be a diver and find some coolness in this hot El Nino times, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite bad, obviously, for the oceans. Bleaching events are happening all over the world. El Nino's always been there, right? It's this, I think it's a 6-year cycle, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's a cycle.
And I mean, it's always there, but it's getting worse and worse. And we can see it now, right? We can all see it. These crazy changes. Obviously, it also being really bad, not just for the underwater world and coral and all of that, but it's also really bad for everything on the surface. If there's no water, farmers are having problems. It's one of the worst farming years in history, I think. Wine, the whole Bordeaux burnt down. What's going to happen to the wine? It's not going to be a good year for French wine in 2026.
No, I think for the wine year, it's not going to be great this year. There's going to be a lot of dry slopes out there. I'm hoping with this increased weather that we get a bit more of a UK season. Usually the UK season cuts off quite short, but this year hopefully it extends a little bit. So there's some positives. I'd love to get a little bit more time in the ocean in the UK. We get some basking sharks towards the end of the year. They'll want to get out and see.
Super cool.
Maybe one day we'll dive in the UK. Not something it's not a diving destination on my bucket list, funnily enough. Maybe it should be.
Yeah, but they do a lot of snorkeling and freediving off the south coast with basking sharks and mola mola. Which is
blue sharks as well. I heard about that.
Yeah, get blues and makos there as well. Yeah, so it is a pretty cool place.
That is pretty cool.
For diving.
Who knew?
Nice. Yeah, exactly.
You guys should go. Everybody listening, go on Scuba Go and check it out.
Yeah. So our next destination we're going to dive together is Malta, right?
Yeah. We're going together. Yay! And you're coming with us. All the people listening, you're going to come with us because we're going there specifically to film podcasts and to do content that you guys might want to see. So we're going to meet some training centers. We're going to go and do some dives. We're looking for your guys' recommendation, which dives we should do, what centers we should visit, and is there anything super interesting and cool in Malta we should go and see? So please comment and let us know what you think about
where we should be in Malta.
100%. Also can throw us a curveball if something horrible has happened in Malta, like you didn't enjoy a certain dive site. We'll go and give our opinion on it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're planning to visit the top-rated dive sites on Scuba Go. So you can go there and you can see what they are. So you can go and get your Scuba Go app and go and find out where the top-rated dive sites are. We'll go and dive those. Plus, we're going to interview a few people in freediving, in lifeguarding, in mermaid, and in XR. And interestingly, we're going to try each other's categories, right?
Yep. We're going to. I'm going to make you
Exactly.
guys. I've been thinking about this because obviously my category is mostly swim, but Memo now wants to be super good at swimming, so it's going to be boring.
Swimmer.
I'm thinking we must at least do butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to find you guys a mermaid tail. Yes.
Yeah, I'm up for
You
some
asked for
mermaid.
it.
I think I'm more mermaid model than I am mermaid, honestly. But you know,
Of course. And finally, you will be able to wear a bikini.
yeah, that's just we come full circle.
We come full circle.
So yeah, I'm going to take these two guys side mount diving to give them a look at XR,
exciting.
and hopefully we'll take them to a nice recon side mount. See if we can squeeze them into a hole somewhere. But don't
Memo's
worry,
not looking
if
as happy as me. I'm
If
excited.
if I fit, these guys will get in and out, no problem. So they don't need to worry too much. But
And also, we're gonna do some freediving, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to do some
We're all
freediving.
qualified. We're all qualified freedivers, right?
Anything
Obviously,
special?
Memo.
You know what
Memo's
you know what
qualified
we're
freediver,
gonna
but-
have to do? We're gonna put on a little bit of a competition freediver day, no? Do like a
Yeah.
try
We
the
have to-
disciplines.
Yeah, I want to try
we
the
will
freedive
be
competitions.
showing everyone a couple of nice stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's
I'm
something
excited
super
about the floor crawler.
interested. And that'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting time. And yeah, we'll have a lot of content. Hopefully, we can post some reels, we can post some videos, and we can get a few podcasts lined up for the people.
Yeah, and if you all have, we are actually going to meet a few instructor trainers also, so that's something that's pretty exciting. So if you have any questions for instructor trainers, anything about instructor courses, something that you would like to hear, maybe opinions, that's going to be a very interesting session, I think.
Yeah.
And we're also lining up a few dive center owners, I believe, right? So we're going to talk about how owning a dive center can, like, how exciting it can be. What are the difficulties? We're going to speak to some people on the ground. So that's really exciting.
Like, you know, we created our new instructor development department that I'm part of. And what we want to do is we want to show people how cool a life in diving can be. You know, whether you choose to do it as part-time, so take sabbaticals from work and jump into diving for a little bit, or choose it as your full-time career. Malta's a really great place to do that. Visas are possible and there's job opportunities. So we want to explore that side of it as well. And hopefully, you know, let people know that being instructor is a really awesome thing to do in Malta. So we got some cool people to meet.
100%.
I'm very,
And anybody
I'm
who doubts that being in the industry is cool, just look at us.
so humble. I'm super excited that we are doing it in Malta as well, because it's not Maldives or it's not the middle of tropics. It's actually Europe, you know, like it has seasons, it has ups, downs, it has a little bit of a retail market, resort market. It's kind of a mixed bag where we can give a different insight or point of view to everything. It will be interesting for sure.
So exciting.
Yeah,
so exciting.
It's good.
Cool. So guys, give us your Malta itineraries, give us some ideas, and we are really much looking forward to it. You will also hear us very soon in another episode. We're back now, so we are back on our regular schedule. So we have one of these episodes with the three of us a month, and then we do one of the new programs. The next one you will be hearing is full face mask. So this one is going live before that. So full face mask is going to be, it's a nice one. Adam and I are talking about it, what it can be used for and all of that. So that's really cool. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on whichever platform you are following us, you're listening to us. So you can listen on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So subscribe, give us your comments, let us know what you like and what you don't like about us. Obviously, how humble we are, me at least.
Yeah, just the likes, please.
Just relax.
Yeah, that's it. Go and tell us what you think. Like, comment, share. We really appreciate your support, and we're happy to make these episodes. They were one of the cool things that we get to do in our day job. We would also love to hear from you if you have any topics you want us to hear us talk about. You know, you might have seen us doing something interesting on our social medias, so we can talk about those kind of things, or any part of the diving industry that interests you. We've got such a lot of knowledge in our group, and we'd really like to hear that.
Mhm.
And maybe, Corinna, if they're lucky, the reason we're in Malta is our training director meeting. We might give them a little sneaky insight into all the other people that might be there.
Sneaky. We'll have to look. We'll have to look if our colleagues are properly dressed and things and behaving
Exactly.
professionally. For our colleagues
We don't want them to
listening,
show us up.
but you better behave professionally. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for this episode, and we'll hear you in the next one.
Nice to catch up
See
with
you
you guys.
later.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.